And thank you for joining us on today's webinar on getting involved with IAIA, Opportunities to Engage, Learn, and Participate. Today's webinar is being hosted by the International Association for Impact Assessment, or IAIA. IAIA is the leading global network on using best practice and impact assessment for making better and more informed decisions. Next slide, please. My name is Keisha Blaser, and I will be facilitating today's webinar, though you'll mainly be hearing from our presenters who you'll meet in just a moment. At IAIA, I am the coordinator for all things training. So as you hear about opportunities related to training, feel free to contact me at my email there, keisha@iaia.org, to learn more and get more information. Next slide, please. Before we get started, I'd like to point you to some resources you can find at our website, www.iaia.org, and to also point out that if you haven't visited our website in a while, it has gone through a pretty recent refresh, specifically with a brand new resource library that is a lot more user-friendly in terms of navigation and filtering by topic and resource type, so please do check that out. So first, I'd like to point you to a couple of webinars that we have in our resource library. Speaking of kind of this topic that we're talking about today of getting involved with IAIA, we recently had a webinar that was discussing the ins and outs of proposing a session for IAIA 27, where Jack Crone talked about common answers to common questions surrounding that submission process. We are still accepting submissions through the end of July, so if you have any interest in doing that and learning more, please do check out that recording. And again, you can contact me for more information and I can put you in touch with people that could answer your questions. We also have webinars. There's another example there, from data to decisions, how AI is reshaping impact assessment. But we have a variety of webinars on different topics like resettlement, biodiversity, health, and more. So please do check those out. Next, we have a variety of online training courses available soon, either at the end of this month or the start of August. These training courses are short, but they are live virtual courses, usually about 10 to 12 hours over 2 to 3 to 4 sessions. So we have upcoming courses on complexities of resettlement and livelihood restoration happening toward the end of July. And then we have tools for stronger argument and clearer writing. There are actually two offerings of this course, one at the end of July, beginning of August, and then one toward the middle of August. These are each happening at different times, so if one of them is not convenient for your time zone, please check out the other one to see if it would be a better fit. Next, we also have online training and mentorship through our professional development program. These are 12-week one-on-one courses where you complete the course under the guidance of a mentor. We have courses on foundations of environmental impact assessment, as well as a course on social impact assessment. Right now, registration is open for our courses that run from September through December. So if you are interested in learning more or registering, please check out our website. We also offer on-demand short-form training on strategic environmental assessment, as well as free downloadable publications like our best practice principles, fast tips, and more, which you'll likely hear about in just a few moments. So like I said, you can find these resources and more all at www.iaia.org. Next, before we get started, a few pieces of housekeeping. On your GoToWebinar panel, I'd like to point out a few different things that might be helpful for you during today's webinar. First, if there are any important links or messages from our team here, I will send those through to you in the chat, which is the first option on that menu on your left-hand side. Next to that is the questions tab. We will be doing a Q&A toward the end, but we'll also be stopping periodically throughout today's webinar for questions. So please don't feel like you have to wait till the end to submit a question. If at any time something comes to mind and you'd like to ask more about it or you want more information, just type it in the questions tab and I will save those. And then, like I said, we will stop. You will see on certain slides a questions box at the bottom, and that can kind of be your note that we're going to stop for questions shortly. So if you have something that you'd like to ask, please type it there. And then you are able to follow along with the slides if you would like by going to the Materials tab, which is the document with the paperclip icon. And those will also be available for you along with the recording once today's webinar is over. Next, please. So before or as we get started, again, today's webinar is getting involved with IAIA Opportunities to Engage, Learn, and Participate. Today's presenters are Bridget John. Bridget is the Chief Operating Officer here at IAIA. And then you'll also be hearing from Gary Baker, our Chief Executive Officer at IAIA. So with that, Bridget, over to you.
Hello, everyone. We are so excited to be here with you today. And Gary and I presented something similar to this at our conference that we just had in Quebec City, II26, last in May. And it was a recommendation by one of our members who attended that session that maybe this was something we should make more broadly available. So Salisa Horvath, our incoming president, made that suggestion, and that is why we are here today. So we're really excited to talk to you about ways to get more involved with IAIA. We'll be talking about 4 basic categories of things, just some background information about what IAIA is, who joins the organization, and why people engage with IAIA. But we're going to be spending the bulk of our time on that last box on how to get involved, as that is the topic of this webinar after all. But we wanted to just give a little bit of background about who we are, in case there's people on this webinar for whom that is new. And as Keisha mentioned, there'll be lots of opportunities for questions. So as you see that question box pop up at the bottom of a slide, you can get your questions ready. We will be pausing for that. Before we get started, let's go ahead and launch a quick poll and find out who we have here on the webinar. So if you could answer the poll that Keisha's putting up for you. Are you a member? Yes, no, I don't know. Looking at the pre-registration information for those who had registered for the event, there were over 300 of you. About a third, a little over a third were members. About half were not. And then a small percentage said that they didn't know. So we'll keep that poll open. Keisha will let us know when the numbers start to trickle down in terms of responses, and we'll see who's joining us today.
Perfect. I'll give about 10 more seconds. If you haven't voted, that would be great if you could.
There's no penalty if you say you're not a member. It's just for informational purposes, so we know how to pitch the presentation.
Yeah. It's always interesting. As I said, over half of the people pre-registered weren't members, and that's great. We know that this was promoted to our entire membership and non-member or database list. So we fully expected there'd be non-members on here. So let's see. So we've got, oh, I'm not able to see that on the full screen. Keisha, do you want to read out what the stats are?
Yes, so it looks like we have 34% are members, 58% are not members, and 8% are not sure.
Great. So that follows pretty much with how the pre-registration went. So glad to have you all. And hopefully I think that there'll be information that's useful to you, whether you're a member, non-member, or even if you don't know. So what is IAIA, the International Association for Impact Assessment? We are a nonprofit association based in the United States and dedicated to all things impact assessment. We were founded in 1980. That makes us 46 years old. We're a global network. We have 1,500 individual and organizational members across 120 nations. And what do we believe? Well, we believe that having more information helps make more informed decisions, and that proceeds for meaningful change and positive outcomes that are better for the environment, for nature, society, all around the world. We got started as an organization in 1980 at a meeting of the American Association for the Advancement of Science, AAAS, in San Francisco. Now, impact assessment was a relatively new field then, and some of the people there were just trying to figure out how, soil scientists were supposed to talk to biologists who were supposed to talk to social scientists, and how to do this in an integrated way. And some of them met after dinner in Chinatown and thought maybe we need an association to progress this forward and help share how to do this. And at the end of the meal, they opened up a fortune cookie. And inside that fortune cookie, the message was, you will do well to expand your business. True story. And so, as a result of that fortune cookie, the International Association for Impact Assessment was launched. They decided to call it international, thinking a few Canadians would join. And here we are today. So, who does join IAIA? This is just a rough breakdown. It changes, of course, as it ebbs and flows a little bit, but this is generally what our membership looks like. About just under a third are consultants. We have about a fifth, a little over 20% in education and research, and that includes people working and teaching in academia, and also includes our students. So we do have student membership as well. A little over a fifth are from government. That's including federal government, state and provincial government, as well as local and indigenous governments. We have people from development banks, World Bank, Inter-American Development Bank, Asian Development Bank, European Investment Bank, some NGOs. We've got people from the UN, from World Health Organization. So some of those organizations, private sector, about 10%. That includes like mining companies, oil and gas companies, other kinds of private sector, energy, transmission. So that's kind of a rough breakdown of who our members are in terms of sectors. And then we also have people from various fields. We're very interdisciplinary. So you'll see here some of the fields. This represents some of our special interest sections. There's a few not on here, but this is most of them. You'll see people are in II from biodiversity and ecology and climate change, cultural heritage, health, indigenous peoples, public participation. People work in a variety of fields and then come together in IAIA. And as you see here, we are truly a global network. Our founders hoped we'd have a few Canadians who would join, but definitely more than just US and Canada as part of II over these 46 years. This again ebbs and flows a bit. It's based on our annual report from 2025 and changes somewhat depending on where our conference is, but this is a fairly solid representation of where our members are across the globe. So we're cross-sectoral, we're interdisciplinary and international. So our members really like that. It brings together people from all walks of life and all sorts of fields and provides some really out of the box thinking. What works in Singapore might work in Argentina, and they would have never known to think about that. So it really does provide some benefits that way.
If I could just add actually, Bridget, just to underline that, it is really a very unique organization from that perspective. It's very difficult, it's very rare to find any organization being able to draw on every stakeholder, every actor in the room. So what does that mean? It means that discussions, it means that knowledge sharing, it means that case studies, it means that regional, local influences are all shared in a very collegiate and helpful and supportive way. And that really is the key to why associations succeed. It's that networking effect where you get introduced in the possibility to meet people and ideas that are way outside what you might be normally doing in your day job. So that is why I think that, if you're wondering why IAIA is a potential area or organization you should be looking at, that to me is a single biggest reason where most people gain a benefit from it.
Excellent. Thanks, Gary. And that perfectly segues into our next slide in terms of why do people engage? And it's about learning. And once you learn and sharing the knowledge and experience that you have and publishing that and presenting that work, there's lots of opportunities to develop leadership skills along the way, connecting with colleagues, which goes to what Gary was talking about, from different sectors, different disciplines, and all over the world. And that comes through again and again in our surveys in terms of value for people. And then, of course, influencing the future of impact assessment. That's what we're all here to do, right? Is to make what we're doing better across the world and in our little corner of it. So I'm going to pause here for some questions. If anyone has anything so far, Keisha, if there's questions, go ahead and toss those out.
Yes, so we just got one question, as you shared kind of the geographic database or representation of our members. Someone asked, is there, a reason that Latin American and Middle Eastern countries are less represented? And is there work that's being done to close this gap?
It's a very good question, and something that we are absolutely working towards changing very actively. I would, first of all, I think the question's in two parts. Why is it at the current levels? One is reflects the maturity of impact assessment within those regions. If you've got legislation and rules and best practice that has been developed over a period of time, then that generally will develop a community within that country or within that region. While it has existed in some form in various Latin American countries and to an extent within the Middle East as well, it is not as well developed in terms of length of practice. But where we're changing that, Latin America is a very good example to use. Last year, we added 2 affiliates. We'll be talking about affiliates later in the webinar, but that is essentially ways in which we can try and work with local institutions to make sure that we can try and promote best practice in impact assessment and develop capacity within those areas. So we have some very specific goals on increasing our Latin American coverage. We are about to announce a partnership within the Middle East that is also going to help in that process of spreading the word on impact assessment within these regions. So good question, and happily I'm happy to say that I think we are doing some strong work in boosting those numbers.
Thank you, Gary. That is the only question that's come through so far.
Okay. So as promised, this is where we're going to be spending the bulk of our time. There's lots of different levels and ways in which you can engage with IAIA. But let me say first that as we go, if there's any opportunities that interest you or that you want to know more about, please indicate that. You'll get an exit survey when you leave the webinar. And you can indicate that in the question, in any kind of field there. Or as Keisha mentioned, anything related to training, you can go ahead and send her an email. And if there's anything else, instead of putting up all sorts of different emails for our different staff, go ahead and send me an email or put it in the survey. I'll make sure it gets funneled to the right staff person so that they can address that and get more information out to you about those. So one of the easiest ways to get more involved with II is to learn. There's lots of opportunities. We have a great recently developed resource library. We changed it, as Keisha mentioned. We did a website refresh, and so we're able to filter by topic, by publication type, by language. So webinars are on there. You can attend webinars. Almost all of ours are free to the public. There are a few for members only. We have best practice principles and fast tips and journals, so you can filter by those. The fast tips are 2 pages, really quick tips, and the best practice principles a little bit longer. Obviously, the journal usually a little bit longer. There's, of course, some training that you can participate in. Keisha mentioned the professional development program, online, in-person courses. We also have some SEA on-demand courses. And you can join the sections, and that's a great way to learn. Some of our sections have resources specific to their section in the online community for their section. We'll be talking a little bit more about sections later. And if you're not already, you could join IAI. That's certainly one way to get involved. There are 4 different membership tiers. You'll see there's a student tier. These are US dollars. And then we have 3 different tiers based on the country that you're in. And these tiers are based on the OECD division of economies. And that's how we have set our rates there. If you don't know that if you're an II member, as some of you said that you weren't sure, and there could be a variety of reasons for that. Maybe you're not sure if your membership has expired, if it's current. Maybe you're not sure if your organization's a member and therefore you are. Likely, you've been receiving some information that makes you think maybe I am, maybe I'm not. You're getting information, but you're not sure if you're a member. So you probably have a profile in our online system, and so feel free to join. It will tell you, or to log into our member compass. It will tell you that right there. Once you join, make sure you complete your member profile so that others with similar interests can find you. So you'll have an opportunity to indicate your sector and your professional expertise. And so maybe there's an II member who wants to find someone with cultural heritage experience in Argentina or in Europe, or they can go through to the profile and see if they can find someone. Maybe they have a question, or maybe they're looking for someone to help them with a project. So filling out that profile helps other people find you, and when other people fill that out, it helps you find them. Uh, so I would also encourage you to get involved as a member. You're automatically a member of our hub, which is our online professional community. And all members are a member of the members group, the II members group there. There's other subgroups for sections that we'll talk about in a minute, but get involved there. That could mean a variety of things, posting your comments or reflections or articles, asking questions, all sorts of things. So get involved. That's a great way to get to know other people. And then also check out the new member toolkit. If you're already a member, you would have received links to this, and maybe you've forgotten about it. But if the link, the URL is there, and it has all sorts of information with graphic instructions, and it walks you through how to update your profile, how to log into the hub, join a section, and find some members only resources. So maybe it's been a while since you've been a member. Check that out. And at the bottom here is a link for more information about our membership tiers, and a link to join IAIA. And don't forget to ensure that iai.org is on your Safe Centers list. That will help you get the onboarding messages. Once you join, we'll be sending you some information, some emails periodically. There's a lot of information, and as you can tell already, resources, things, ways to get involved. So we don't want to send that to you all at one time. So there's various messages. So you want to make sure we're on your Safe Senders list so that you don't miss out on that. But also we do send out regular news messages to alert you of opportunities and deadlines and those kinds of things. So want to make sure that you don't miss those messages. Well, before we go much further, we're going to be talking about affiliates. And so Keisha is going to be launching a poll. We asked you earlier if you're a member of IAIA, but now let's find out, before we start talking about affiliates, who is a member of an II affiliate or not. Or if you don't know, yes, no, I don't know. So I don't want to steal Gary's thunder. He's going to be talking about affiliates here in a minute. But as you're filling out the poll, II has several affiliates. They are organizations that share interest in impact assessment around the world. They're completely independent of IAIA. They're their own organization. They have their own bylaws, their own website. Some of them do their own conferences, their own bank accounts. So they're independent, but we share an interest in impact assessment, and it might be within a specific region or specific topic area. So curious to hear and see how many of you on the call are members of II affiliates.
Alrighty, we have about 60% of you have voted, so I'm going to give about 10 more seconds. If we can get a few more votes in, that would be great.
Fantastic. It is important work that our affiliates do at that regional, local, national level. And so we are so grateful to them and all the work that they do. there, and so glad we can partner with them.
Perfect. Okay, we have wrapped up. It looks like 23% are members of an affiliate, 40% are not, and 37% are not sure.
Excellent. All right. Well, Gary, I'm going to let you take the next few slides on affiliates and sections.
Spectacular. Oh, before I get into this, I mean, just to reiterate, it just occurred to me that, where we say we have academics involved, and one of the other benefits of the networking effect, a number of our members really have written the definitive textbooks on those particular areas, whether it's social impact assessment, whether it's health, whether it's indigenous peoples, the go-to textbooks that many people will have been taught from will often have been written by IAIA members, and you will interact with them at conferences or on webinars or in training. And that is, again, it's quite a sort of humbling experience at times, that you really do get the very best people involved, or world experts within those particular fields. So just something to also reflect on. But anyway, on to affiliates. As Bridget said, I mean, affiliates are not officially connected with IAIA beyond having a memorandum of understanding. We have an agreement that we will talk, participate, collaborate, work with affiliates. And what are we trying to do there? We're trying to support each other in the work that we're doing, which is promoting impact assessment, and making it as relevant and as effective as possible, often at the local level. So a lot of our affiliates are national based, whether it's Korea, whether it's Mexico, whether it's Nigeria, elsewhere. And we're always looking to expand our affiliate network. So over the past 12 months, I think we've now added 7 new affiliates in Mongolia, as I mentioned earlier, 2 in Mexico. And that process continues. We had a very good meeting with our affiliates or affiliate members in Quebec at our annual conference. And the commitment there is really to continue and intensify what we're doing, which is all about trying to offer specific training, trying to make sure that we're aware of each other's activities. There's some very active affiliates in terms of what they try to do locally on supporting impact assessment communities. And I think it's just a very important part of what makes our international bit of our title work. Often it's affiliates in local jurisdictions are the partners that we have when we put our events on. So the one we've just concluded in Quebec was run with an affiliate that we have in Quebec. And again, the next conference we run in New Zealand is going to be run with 2 of the affiliates, New Zealand and Australia, that will be our partners in terms of putting that on. Now, it's not just about conferences, it's about more than that. It's about, again, sharing networks, sharing communities, and really making membership of whether it's your local affiliate and your IAIA membership as valuable and as useful to you as possible. So we can come back to affiliates if people have any questions, but let's go forward to I misspoke. This is the range of affiliates we have, and I think it's illustrative, I think, of also where impact assessment practice has gone and where legislation has gone. And often, some of the countries that we work with, Nepal has been a very interesting one, where we've done really good work with World Bank, with Asian Development Bank on try to offer specific training and guidance on particular areas. In that case, it was on hydropower and how you make good decisions on hydropower development. And that is working with the local affiliate, it's working with local institutions, finance, development banks. And that is the work that we do. We're trying to unite and bring organizations together with the common aim of making better decisions and arriving at better outcomes for societies, for local communities. And that really is the purpose of impact assessment. So the more that we can do that in countries across the world, then the better I think that we're succeeding in what our mission is. So look, that illustrates some of the countries. Does anyone have any questions on affiliates or what they are, what they do, what they're intended on? Any questions at all on this?
Yes. So we did have a couple other questions that I think I'm going to save for toward the end that will fit better with later on. But there was a question that just came through asking, does IAIA provide any support to intention to form impact assessment professional associations in a country where the group then has intention to then form an affiliate with IAIA? So we support them in forming that association if they then intend to be an affiliate?
We would certainly we could offer some advice. Absolutely, we can't get involved in let's say a legal sense. You know, we have to have a degree of arm's length distance between us, but absolutely we can help in terms of um, trying to sort of attract the community. I mean, you know, what's crucial for affiliates is that they have a core base of people who all have that common interest and want to come together, whether that's on a country base or sometimes it's on a sector basis. So in Mexico, you know, one of the affiliates was really an organization for engineers who were involved in a lot of infrastructure construction projects where pretty much all of them were facing questions and having to do impact assessment. So, you know, there it's a slightly broader connection. You know, one of the other affiliates that we've sort of talked about in the past has been on the more on the legal side. You know, because legal challenge, legal permitting is a very regular occurrence in impact assessment, particularly on large projects. So no, we can certainly help, and very happy to talk with people if they're interested in what is available already in countries. Sometimes you might not be aware that there are other groups there, but equally, you know, we certainly don't know always that there is interest in particular countries or particular areas. So I'd love to hear more about that. So do get in touch if you've got further questions on specific cases.
Perfect. There are a few specific questions about, contacts for certain affiliates or getting the name. So I will follow up with, just know if you've answered a question about that, I will follow up with you written. I will answer you. There is a couple other questions. Let me pull them up here. Are there exchange opportunities that IAIA facilitates or offers across these countries and affiliates?
By exchange opportunities, I presume you mean like internships or I mean we don't have a specific program for that. You know, we don't have a lot of vacancies within IAIA headquarters, for example. And really what the affiliates do is they bring together a whole range of interests within, let's say, that particular country. So, you know, in some ways, they may have a mini spread of IAI like interests of regulators, of practitioners, of consultants. Now, whether there are opportunities within those organizations, you know, we can't really see that, but we can certainly put people in touch with affiliates who will know much more. So we don't have any formal exchange process. I mean, I'd love to think that at some point we can, but that is not something we've been able to put together so far.
Great, thank you. And then there are a couple questions about, the benefits that affiliates get compared to members, or, if they are a member of an affiliate, what does that get them here with IAIA?
Bridget, do you want to take that one?
Sure. So they do get a number of members, like they have individual members. And so I think Gary, didn't we just increase it? It used to be a few, but you were at the affiliates meeting.
I can hardly hear you, Bridget, actually.
Oh, can you hear me better now?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think I had my hand over the microphone, sorry. So at the most recent affiliates meeting, I think there was a conversation because we did just recently increase it to the number of individual
Yeah.
members, correct? So is it 5?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
yeah, we do. In terms of each affiliate will get a certain number of access logins that they can their members can utilize. So it is somewhat restricted because, you know, well, obviously we're trying to encourage membership of IAIA itself. But yes, there is that capability and an offer available.
Right. So those individual members then would have all the benefits of any II member. There's also affiliate members get access to our conferences at the member rate. So even if you're not a member of IAIA, but you're a member of an affiliate, you can pay the member rate at our conferences. There is also, I believe, a group on the hub for affiliates for those individual members so that they can network with each other as affiliates. And maybe they have questions about how do you handle recruiting, or what are you doing with this, conference issue or something. So they could talk and share amongst themselves about the challenges or successes of being an affiliate and do an exchange of information that way. Gary, anything I missed?
What about training? They people also affiliates get member rate on training. I can't remember.
Keisha?
Yes, affiliate members,
I
you
thought
also get the member rate for any training courses and professional development programs as well.
Okay, excellent.
perfect.
Perfect.
Collective
Okay.
effort we got there.
And also, I'll just, the URL that's at the bottom of this page, if you were asking about contacts for specific affiliates, Keisha said she'd follow up, but also it is on our website. There's links there has the names of the contact, but also links to their web pages and such. So you can get to that through our website as well.
Yes, perfect. So again, yeah, if you typed in a question asking about a specific, what's the affiliate name in Brazil, I will respond back to you and get that to you, and then you can also look at that URL. But that looks to be the end of the affiliate specific questions for now.
All right.
Okay, well, related but different subject, sections. Now, sections, we're back into IAIA territory now. And, you saw an earlier slide, areas of interest. Now, what sections are is a chance for people that might have a specific interest in a particular topic or area to meet with other people that have those similar interests. And that ranges from social impact assessment, strategic environmental assessment, climate change, human health, biodiversity. There is an enormous number of different areas that we offer these areas of specialty. And each of those sections have a couple of specific things that they do. They are charged with and they maintain some of the publications that Bridget referred to earlier, fast tips, best practices, citations. And that really is current best practice within those fields. So again, it's people who are very knowledgeable and experienced in those areas producing this work. And that is very cutting edge in many examples. So one of the most recent sections we created was AI and emerging technologies. And one of the best practice principles that was then published was on performing impact assessments on extraterrestrial activities, which is very topical given what's happening on Starlink, on satellites, on potential colonization of planets. It sounds a really sort of, a bit Star Trekky, but there's a real issue of how do you go about assessing what impact that will have? How do you go about dealing with space junk? How do you successfully think about full life cycle of a satellite that you launch, but eventually has got to also come back down to Earth again? So, that is impact assessment. It's kind of fascinating, and we've had a lot of interest in that best practice principles because there aren't many organizations that do that. Other things that sections do, we generally, sections meet 3 times a year. One is related and linked to the conference, so that generally is in person. But then 2 are virtual, and we're conducting a series of virtual meetings at the moment. Just prior to this meeting, it was cultural heritage. Earlier this morning, we had another meeting, and that brings any number of people. The two calls we had today had, on one case, 35 people from literally around the world calling in to discuss what that particular topic was. Another one was even more specialized on disasters and conflicts. And again, these are the people who are really out in the field dealing with some really, really gritty and challenging situations. And that is what these IAI sections are trying to do. In some cases, they will have longer term plans on producing handbooks, on producing larger publications linked to some of the other periodicals that we do. But this is a very specific way in which people can get involved. You can develop your interest levels, your knowledge base, and over time you can get involved in ultimately chairing one of these sections. We typically, each section will have at least 2 chairs, co-chairs, in some cases 3. And that is a way of just getting more experience and trying to direct the work that these sections do. That is available to everyone. If you have that level of interest, then it's definitely something that you can aspire to do, no matter where you are in the world. So I think it's a very strong aspect of what IAIA is, because that's where so much of the knowledge and the detail and the experience resides. It's in those sections. Each of the sections has a guaranteed slot or session at our annual conference where they can provide and present papers, discussions. So it's a very active area, and that is, a key part of what IAIA is. Questions on sections?
At this time, there aren't any. I was going to give it a few seconds to see if any came through, but we have not had any questions yet.
Just one other thing. There's no commitment. I mean, if you join IAIA, you can browse through these sections as much as you want. You can participate as much as you want. And even if you spend all of your time doing health impact assessments, what we find is that the crossover to perhaps cultural heritage or social or indigenous or strategic environmental is always going to have something that you might be interested in and you might find useful for the work that you do in your day job. So that's the other benefit of sections. You can drive by and just dip into them.
And along those lines too, like they do meet 3 times a year, but there's no commitment that you have to attend any or all of those section meetings, and they may not work for your time zone, or you just may not, but you can certainly join their hub group where they're sharing information, sharing resources. You can post questions about that particular topic. Like Gary said, maybe you're not working in that topic, but you had to dip your toe in it for a project, so I need to go to some experts. Well, you can join or leave at any time. It's not like you're signing on the bottom on the dotted line and committing to any of that, but it's certainly a way to connect with other people.
It's all upside.
Yeah. Keisha, any questions related to sections?
No, none came through at this time.
All right. All right, so some more ways to get involved with IAI. One of our flagship things is our annual conference. Next year, it's going to be in Christchurch, New Zealand in April. And so you can submit a session proposal that's actually open through July 30th. So if you are interested in proposing a topic, now a session is a 90-minute block within our conference where there's usually 4 or 5 presenters or maybe it's a panel, or maybe it's a workshop, but it's a session. It's that 90-minute block of time. If you want to propose a session on a particular topic, then that deadline is the 30th of July. We just, as Keisha mentioned, had a recent webinar with Jack Crone, one of our members and chair of our technical program committee, with some tips on how to submit a session. And you can find that in our resource library, as Keisha noted. Now, once the sessions have been identified and the program committee has looked through them all and selected the ones that will be on the program, then we open it up to submit abstracts for papers or presentations. So if you look through the list of sessions and you see that there's one that you've done some work on, or you'd like to present on that topic, you can submit to present, and that abstract submission process opens September 7th, and they'll be due November 2nd, so it's open for a couple months there. Some of the sessions are, like I said, are workshops or panel presentations, so they're not all paper presentations, but that's another great way to get involved. Or posters. You can submit an abstract for a poster. That's the same time frame, September 7th to November 2nd. We do have a poster reception at our conference, so it's combined with our welcome reception. And at that time, the authors of those posters are at their posters, so people at the reception can visit with them, and you can share and talk and share more information about what your research was or what your poster is all about. Another way to get involved related to the conference is, of course, you can take a training course, as we mentioned before, but you could also, if you're interested in providing training, you could submit a proposal for a training course that's held in conjunction with our annual conference. We do those 2 days in advance of our conference, the 2 days prior. Now for IAIA 27, that window has passed for submitting a proposal. That committee is currently reviewing all of the proposals we've already received. But in April 2027, we will open it up for the IAIA 28 conference. So we'll be opening it up for proposals for training courses then.
Just maybe just one other thing on that. We talk a lot about the conference, but that's our annual conference. It's not the only thing that we do. 18 months ago, we had a very successful mini conference, if you will, a symposium in Guatemala that was on infrastructure, impact assessment infrastructure. And in September, this coming September, so 2 months' time, we're in Liverpool with a seminar on the future of impact assessment, particularly from an academic point of view. There is a big review that has happened on how impact assessment is taught in academia around the world, and there's a 3-day seminar that's happening in Liverpool. So yes, the annual is a very important event for us and brings together the biggest audience. But in addition to that, we have smaller regional events or topic-specific events that we're always keen to be able to put those on as well.
Great, I'm glad you mentioned the symposia. Thanks, Gary. Other ways that you can get involved are involved sharing. So as we've talked a lot about the Hub, it's our online professional community. There's a members group. All members are members of that group. And then our sections all have groups on the Hub as well. Now, and also you can post thoughts, ask questions. You can share an article, a comment on someone else's post. But one thing I would say about the Hub, don't be discouraged if you post something and no one replies. That's still valuable information or commentary that you're sharing. What we found from some of our member surveys is that people find that as a valuable way of getting information, our online community, even if they don't post or comment. And we found it to be similar to other platforms like LinkedIn. Like a lot of people, some people may post, a lot of people get value out of that. That doesn't necessarily mean they're commenting on it, but they're still finding value. So please don't let that be a discouragement to you. It only gets better the more information that's out there and the more people get involved and share. So another way to share is through providing a guest blog post. That we post those on our websites, and that could be an activity that you attended and you wanted to provide some reflections on. For those affiliate members out there, we're always happy to post comments or blog posts about affiliate activities, but it doesn't have to be an affiliate activity. Maybe there's something, a current event going on or an emerging trend, something going on in the industry that you feel led to, and you have something you wanted to share. So let us know if you want to provide a blog post for that. You could also submit to the journal. A lot of people think journal and they think academia. We do, of course, have full research articles there, but there's also professional practice papers, letters, and book reviews. So if you go onto our resource library on our website and you click on and you filter for a journal article and click on any of the articles there, if you scroll down, you're going to find instructions on how to submit to our journal. There's opportunities within IAI to teach as well. You could present a webinar. As we're doing here, we host them throughout the year, and we're always looking for engaging presenters to share their expertise on hot topics. Maybe there's some case studies. So if you have knowledge that you'd be willing to share in this way, reach out and let us know. Keisha also obviously is the point of contact for that. It can be solo presenters, it could be multiple, it could be a panel discussion. There's pretty flexible formatting there. Keisha, we've already talked about the PDP program and the two different course contents that we have for foundations in environmental impact assessment as well as the SIA. And so you could certainly express your interest in being a trainer. As Keisha mentioned, they're matched up with a mentor, a trainer as they go along. And so we're preferably, ideally in something similar to their time zone. So you could let us know if you're interested in doing that. And teaching in a way by helping us translate our publications. And we have lots of our publications are translated already, but there's still a lot to do. It's in a variety of different languages. Those are on our website. But if you're interested in translating, let us know. We've talked too about ways to lead. Some other opportunities are becoming a member of a committee and then potentially eventually, not eventually, but potentially also a chair of that committee. We have 5 different committees that we can accept members on. And so training and professional development, that's obvious. Awards, they help review the nominations for our various awards. Our journal management, they make sure that we've got a quality journal that we're putting out. Conferences committee, when we receive proposals for our next annual conferences in the future, they review them and help make sure that we have high quality conferences. And the technical program committee works to ensure that the program for each conference is of quality. They review the session and the paper submissions and make those sometimes difficult decisions, but to make sure that we're putting out a quality conference. And of course, another way to participate, to lead, is through, you can volunteer to be a member of the board of directors. You can nominate yourself to be on the ballot. It's a 3-year term. The committee memberships also, I should say, are 3-year terms, renewable for a second term. Board of directors is just a 3-year term, but the self-nominations for board of directors, that's open now through August 7th. So you can find information about that on our website or let us know and we can get that information to you. One thing I do want to say about these leadership opportunities is that it does depend on openings, and so, but it is helpful to have people who have registered their interest in it in advance so that when openings do become available, we have a pool of people we can turn to. We do try to maintain geographic or gender and sometimes sector balance. So if you're not asked right away, that doesn't mean you won't be in the future. It just kind of depends on openings and the balance of the composition of those committees and the board at that time. And of course, there's ways to connect. You can introduce other colleagues to IAI. We've talked a lot about the hub. That's a way to connect. Joining one of the sections that we've talked about is a fantastic way to connect and really drill down deep into your area of expertise, or find information about areas where you're not an expert. And of course, if you have ideas for ways that IAI should be involved with other organizations or should partner with, please let us know. And Gary, anything on this slide in particular that you wanted to address?
No, I mean, look, I think we've covered a lot of it. That we're always interested in meeting similar organizations in terms of what outlook and that might be impacted or affected, or you using and facing off against impact assessment wherever it is in the world. So I mean, really, no suggestions are too far fetched. I think we're very interested in just hearing more about potential areas that we can get involved with. We won't always say yes, we may say no, but I'd love to hear what the idea is in the first place.
So Keisha, any other questions? You mentioned there were some you were holding till the end.
Yes. So in case we had run out of time, I was answering several typed answered. So if you did put a question in, be sure to check if I answered you that way. But there is a couple good questions we have. So first off, as a young professional, how can someone leverage their membership to gain work experience or opportunities? So for context, this person is doing a career pivot from two different sectors. With having a limited budget for paid resources, how could they leverage their IAI membership then to explore new work opportunities and experience?
I'll give it a go initially. Bridget may have something to add, but I think ultimately so much of work opportunities now more than ever are influenced by network effects and people that you can meet, talk to, understand what maybe their career path had been, where they work, what it's like at a particular consultancy or development bank. And often those people can be the people that can at least alert you to where to look and where to go and who you might be able to speak with. Now, we do on our hub posts sometimes get job adverts, particularly we've seen a lot of World Bank, IDB, IFC adverts there that are posted. So that is certainly, a potential source. But I think the key is being able to draw upon that network of people engaged, involved, and experienced within the impact assessment community. So that is a case of doing the hard yards on meeting these people, following up with them, obviously being respectful in terms of what you're asking, but that capability and facility is there.
Yeah, I would say leveraging that networking opportunities and asking people, as Gary mentioned, some of the people that are our members are the people who wrote the books, the textbooks on these things. And to add to that, they are very approachable. And that's not just us saying that because we know them. We've had other people in our surveys tell us that the people that they studied about, the books that they learned from, they went to a conference or they reached out to them, and they are so willing to give back. So many of our members have a heart for that. And so I would reach out to those people, any people that you know of as members that you feel like you have connections with or want to get to know better or have questions for. They are very, very willing to share their time and their expertise.
Great, thank you. Yeah, I would just echo, getting involved is kind of the first step in that too, is, getting involved in sections, in committees, and, being an active member helps with that as well. And then we had another question. This is a good point of clarification. Do you have to be a member to join a section?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you
Yeah.
do.
So
Yes, you
again,
do.
and that's kind of partially, not just a restriction to members, but also I would say a member benefit is having access to
Yeah,
those sections as well.
absolutely. I think that is a very tangible, real value. So I think being a member and being able to benefit from that is one of the key attributes for it.
Yes, perfect. Okay, we did just get a last question asking about the Liverpool seminar on the future of IA and, if that's open to IAI members and how can IAI members participate and, add value to that.
Yeah, there's a website. I mean, there are about 20 places left because there is a hard cap as to how many people can sign up for it. If you go to our website. There is a link for the Liverpool Symposium. I can't remember which is the easiest way to access it, but perhaps we can help people on that. But yes, there are some places available, but not many. And I think registration for that will close within the next 2 weeks. So you still have chance. It's a 3-day event. The agenda is out there. It is a very, very good seminar that's been put together by some pretty influential academics within the IA community and further afield as well.
Perfect. And that is it for questions, and we are kind of at time. So if either of you have anything else you want to share.
No, look, I mean, thank you for your interest and time in setting aside to listen to us blurbing on. I mean, we feel, very, very passionate about what IAIA can help and do and is doing. But we rely on people joining. We rely on volunteers. We rely on participation. So if you're sort of been wondering, should I, shouldn't I? Yeah, my suggestion is give it a go. I mean, give it a go and see how that works. See how you can utilize it, whether you get a reward back from that. And then, if it works, which I'm sure it will do, then great. If it doesn't, I don't think much has been lost, because I think you will have got some experience to some very interesting people and topics, and then you don't have to renew your membership. Now, I don't think it'll come to that, but I think first things first is get involved and see what you can do and how that can help you.
Perfect. Thank you, Gary. And to echo what Gary said, thank you all for joining us. We do know your time is valuable, and we really appreciate you spending some of it with us today. As we end here, like Bridget mentioned earlier, there is an exit survey. Please do take the time to fill that out. That's very valuable for me in planning future webinars, and also just to assess, how we did, what our network is wanting to hear about. There's a place in there where you can suggest future webinar topics. So if there's something you'd like to hear more about, whether it was something that we touched on today or something completely different, please do mention that, and I will do my best to get the experts that you want to hear from. So again, as we leave here, if you are a member, feel free to post something in the hub and get a conversation started. If you're not, there is our handles there to talk on LinkedIn as well. And if there's any questions, again, you can email me or Bridget, and we will get you in touch with who you need to talk to. So again, thank you so much for your time, and we will see you next time.